Tonight, we're journeying back to a quiet, small town in Iowa, a place where the American dream seemed to be thriving. But on a peaceful summer night in 1912, that dream turned into an unimaginable nightmare. This is the chilling, unsolved story of the Villisca Axe Murders. The date is June 9, 1912. The Moore family, Josiah, Sarah, and their 4 young children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul Have, just returned home from an evening at the Presbyterian Church. They'd participated in the Children's Day program, a happy, community-filled event. With them were 2 young friends of the Moore children, Lena and Ina Stillinger, who were staying for a sleepover. 8 people in total, settling down for the night in their modest white house on East 2nd Street. The town of Villisca was peaceful, the kind of place where people didn't even lock their doors. But on this night, evil was lurking in the shadows. The next morning, a neighbor, Mary Peckham, noticed the Moore house was unusually quiet. The chores weren't done. The house was still. Concerned, she tried knocking on the door, but there was no answer. After her calls went unheard, she contacted Josiah Moore's brother, Ross. What Ross discovered when he finally unlocked the door would scar the town of Villisca forever. Inside, in the downstairs bedroom, lay the bodies of Josiah and Sarah Moore. They had been brutally murdered in their sleep. But the horror didn't end there. Upstairs, in the children's rooms, were the 6 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, Paul, and their guests, Lena and Ina. All of them had met the same horrific fate. Every single person in the house had been bludgeoned to death with an axe. The weapon, belonging to Josiah Moore, was found in the guest bedroom, stained and left behind by the killer. The crime scene was bizarre and deeply unsettling. The killer had covered all the mirrors and glass in the house with cloths and clothing. A plate of uneaten food was found on the kitchen table, along with a bowl of bloody water, suggesting the killer had washed their hands before leaving. Strangest of all, the killer had locked the doors behind them and taken the keys, leaving the house of horrors sealed from the outside. Panic and fear gripped Villisca. Who could commit such a monstrous act? The investigation began immediately, but it was chaotic from the start. In the early 1900s, forensic science was in its infancy. The crime scene was quickly contaminated by hundreds of curious townspeople who traipsed through the house before it was secured. Fingerprinting was a new technique. And though some bloody fingerprints were found on the axe handle, they were likely smudged beyond use by the many people who handled it. Suspicion fell on several individuals. One of the first was Frank Jones, a prominent Villisca businessman and state senator. He was a business rival of Josiah Moore, who had recently left Jones's employment to start his own competing farm implement company. Rumors swirled that Jones had hired a man named William Blackie Mansfield to carry out the murders. Mansfield was a suspected serial killer believed to be responsible for similar axe murders in other states. He was even in the area around the time of the Villisca murders. Mansfield was arrested, but with an alibi placing him in Illinois at the time, he was eventually released. Another compelling suspect was Reverend George Kelly, a traveling minister who had been in Villisca for the Children's Day service on the night of the murders. Kelly was known for his odd behavior and had a history of mental health issues. He reportedly confessed to the murders to a fellow train passenger, claiming God had told him to slay and slay utterly. He even gave a detailed confession to investigators, describing the crime scene with eerie accuracy. Kelly was tried twice for the murders, but a jury found him not guilty. His confession was deemed coerced, and his mental state cast doubt on its reliability. There was also the theory of a transient, an unknown drifter passing through town on the railroad. Villisca was a major railway hub, and many believed a random, violent individual could have easily slipped into town, committed the crime, and vanished on the next train without a trace. This would explain why no local motive ever truly stuck and why the killer was never found. This theory is supported by a string of similar axe murders that occurred along railroad lines in the Midwest around the same time. leading some to believe a single traveling serial killer was responsible for them all. Over a century has passed, and the Villisca Axe Murders remain one of America's most infamous cold cases. The lack of concrete evidence and the passage of time have shrouded the truth in a thick fog of speculation and legend. The house itself still stands in Villisca. It's been restored to its 1912 condition and is now a historical site, a chilling monument to the tragedy that unfolded within its walls. Visitors to the Villisca Axe Murder House have reported a wide range of paranormal experiences. Many claim to hear the sounds of children crying or laughing when no one is there. Objects are said to move on their own, and doors open and close without explanation. Some have captured electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, recording faint whispers believed to be the voices of the Moore family. People who have spent the night in the house report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, seeing shadowy figures, and even feeling a mysterious touch. The small closet in the upstairs children's room is said to be a particular hotspot for paranormal activity, with many feeling an intense, dark presence inside. Is the house haunted by the restless spirits of the Moore family and the Stillinger girls, forever tied to the location of their violent end? Or is it simply the heavy weight of history and the power of suggestion playing tricks on the mind? We may never know for sure. The identity of the killer, the one who wielded the axe on that dark June night, was lost to history. Their motive, their face, their name all buried with the secrets of that terrible night. The story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are not supernatural beasts, but ordinary people. And sometimes the darkest questions are the ones that are never answered. The silence that fell over the Moore house on the morning of June 10, 1912, has, in a way, never been broken. It echoes through the decades, a haunting question mark in the heart of America's heartland. Thank you for joining me for this dive into one of history's most disturbing, unsolved mysteries. If you found this story as chilling as I do, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more terrifying tales. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Until next time, try to sleep well.